1997, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, submerged listening stations detected a strange sound. Microphones separated by thousands of miles captured the same low-frequency event at different arrival times. The signal did not resemble the familiar patterns of known ships, animals, earthquakes, or underwater volcanoes. It swept upward in frequency over the course of more than 1 minute. For years, marine scientists could not explain what produced it. To understand where this mystery began, we have to look at how NOAA listens to the ocean. Researchers with the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory deployed underwater sensors called hydrophones. These autonomous underwater microphones hang deep in the ocean, moored far below passing ships and storms. NOAA placed this specific array to monitor underwater volcanoes and tectonic activity. The Pacific is vast and dark, but low-frequency sound can travel extraordinary distances through deep water. When researchers reviewed data recorded in the summer of 1997, one signal stood out from everything around it. Its pitch was extremely low, making the original recording sound slow and almost unrecognizable to us. To reveal its character, scientists sped up the playback 16 times. The transformed recording produced an unmistakable rising noise that sounded like a massive bloop. The name stuck, but the range of the acoustic wave was the truly astonishing part. The mystery was not merely what it sounded like, but how far it had traveled. By comparing when it reached distant hydrophones, investigators knew they were hearing one enormous event. They first looked at human causes, including heavy commercial shipping. A freighter propeller produces rhythmic, continuous noise, unlike this isolated rising signal. Next came the possibility of military submarines moving secretly through deep water. But the bloop did not resemble the recognizable machinery patterns in known submarine recordings. The team then turned toward natural geological explanations. Underwater volcanoes can burst with violent explosions, but those sounds have their own repeating fingerprints. Earthquakes produce longer rumbling patterns that look different when converted into a spectrogram. The bloop was brief, broad, and swept upward before vanishing back into the ocean noise. As familiar explanations fell away, a much wilder possibility captured everyone's imagination. Could the source of this powerful sound have been a living creature? Blue whales are the largest known animals on Earth and produce extremely powerful low-frequency calls. Those calls can cross huge distances, but the bloop did not match the acoustic shape of a known whale call. If it was biological, popular imagination had no trouble inventing something enormous. Speculation quickly escaped scientific circles and spread through newspapers, TV, and the early internet. Online storytellers connected its estimated South Pacific origin with Lovecraft's fictional sunken city of Leh. People imagined an undiscovered behemoth lurking in a part of the ocean humans had barely explored. NOAA scientists, however, had no biological evidence for a colossal animal. A creature of that scale would need food, reproduce, and eventually leave bodies or other physical traces. A loud signal by itself could not turn a sea monster story into proof. The mystery remained open as the 1990s came to a close. Researchers needed more recordings from farther south to understand where the signal truly belonged. NOAA continued placing hydrophones closer to Antarctica while studying earthquakes and underwater volcanoes. New listening stations began recording the freezing waters around the southern continent. The Southern Ocean is remote, violent, and filled with sounds that were still poorly catalogued. Over several years, those hydrophones captured many powerful low-frequency signals. Investigators organized the new recordings and compared their shapes with the mystery from 1997. By 2005, one family of Antarctic sounds finally supplied the missing clue. The signals came from enormous masses of ice cracking and shifting near the Antarctic coastline. On spectrograms, their broad rising patterns looked remarkably similar to the bloop. The mystery now had a repeatable natural source after nearly a decade. It was not the call of a monster rising from a dark trench. The bloop was consistent with an icequake, the violent cracking and fracturing of immense Antarctic ice. As glaciers and icebergs move against the sea, stress builds inside the frozen mass. The ice bends, fractures, and sometimes tears away in sections large enough to dwarf a city. That sudden rupture releases tremendous energy into the surrounding water. The ocean carries a resulting low-frequency shock far beyond the breaking ice. An event does not need lungs or a heartbeat to become one of the loudest things in the sea. Icebergs can also grind against the seafloor or collide with other ice as winds and currents push them. Millions of tons of ice flakes scrape and crack together like a moving mountain range. Those vibrations enter the deep water as long, powerful waves. A natural deep water sound channel bends low frequencies back toward its center instead of letting them escape quickly. It acts like an acoustic highway, allowing some sounds to cross enormous stretches of ocean. That is how unlikely Antarctic icequake could reach hydrophones thousands of miles away in 1997. The explanation gained an extraordinary confirmation in 2008. Scientists acoustically tracked a huge Antarctic iceberg known as A53A near South Georgia. As A53A cracked and broke apart, the hydrophones followed its destruction through sound. Its icequakes produced spectrograms strikingly similar to the original Bloop. Each fracture added another piece to the acoustic fingerprint of moving Antarctic ice. A mystery born from one strange signal had finally become a repeatable investigation. The ocean had not hidden an impossibly large leviathan in the abyss. The true giant was a shifting landscape of ice, moving, breaking, and reshaping itself in real time. Nature had sent a sound across the Pacific without a single living lung. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Below the Blue and join me for the next descent into a true ocean mystery.